Reports of an incident which even focused the attention of the Cabinet of Ministers caused widespread debate throughout society regarding the ad hoc charging of money from school students for various purposes. Responsible authorities who were complicit in this practice also made statements during the entire saga, saying they were unaware of the matter. However, not long ago, the Ministry of Education issued a decree saying that if money is charged in an ad hoc manner from school students, then complaints can be lodged with the police. This act can be considered as a cunning one, considering the fact that those at Isrupaya are well aware that given the justifiable fear that their children may be adversely affected, it is highly unlikely that any parent will go to the police. The education authorities, who have said that they too will conduct investigations once parents bring them copies of the complaints lodged with the police, have failed to ask parents to present copies of complaints they have lodged with the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption. Nevertheless, there is room for the practice of charging money from students in an ad hoc manner to be completely halted after the 22nd of February. The Minister made this guarantee on the 8th of this month. Accordingly, it could be that the Ministry of Education issued this letter to schools on the 7th of this month, completely unaware that the Minister would be proposing something quite contrary the very next day. Through this letter issued by the Ministry on the 7th, the same Ministry which had issued circulars as the Minister mentioned, an opportunity is being created for money to be charged from students. This letter notifies schools that their aesthetic groups must perform at an Asala Perahara organized by the Ministry's Secretary on the instructions of the subject Minister. According to this letter, this Perahara is being held not only to promote the skills of the students, but to also develop the choreography of dance teachers. These intentions are the responsibility of the Ministry of Education. A part of the taxpayers' money has been allocated through the budget to enable the ministry to fulfill these responsibilities. However, in order to participate in the Asala Perahara and promote their skills, the students will have to pay a sum of money. This letter also contains the alternative measure to be followed to raise the necessary funds. Doesn't this instruction violate the circular which is already in place, which prevents the collection of money from students? Doesn't this letter imply that students who cannot raise these funds will not be allowed to promote their skills at the Asala Perahara organized by the Ministry for the students? Secretary to the Ministry of Education, this one is over to you.
Strong winds experienced in Vallabhai yesterday damaged several homes in the area.
About 30 homes and places of business were damaged by strong winds experienced in Telula, Vallabhai. A reporter says 10 homes were completely destroyed. The Assistant Director of the Disaster Management Centre, Pradeep Kodipili, said steps have been taken to provide relief to people affected by strong winds experienced in the area. Farmland was destroyed in Nedunkarni, Pulyankulam and Mankulam in Vavuniya by heavy rains experienced over the past few days. A reporter says that while farmland was also damaged by excess water released from reservoirs, there was only a week left for the crops to be harvested. Meanwhile, red rains were experienced in the Kataragama Road junction in Buttala yesterday. A white fibre-like substance fell in Apraka yesterday. Something resembling fibre or cobwebs fell from the sky. It was longer than cobwebs. Because it was unusual, we notified Professor Chandana at the University of Colombo.
Western Provincial Councillor Jayantha De Silva, speaking in Borala today, said that leadership training can be provided by Sunday schools.
The event was held for the prefect's investiture ceremony at the Sri Dharmashama Vihara Sunday School down Baseline Mouth in Borala. Students, parents and teachers need not go to grave extents about this leadership training. It's an experience. I'm not trying to take a higher position. You will receive the training once you take Venerable Dhammika as an example. You don't need to go anywhere else for leadership. You can get that training from right here.
Also in local news, Minister of Public Administration and Home Affairs WDJ Seniviratna says that it is suitable if the Criminal Procedures Code can be re-established. The minister made this observation at a workshop held in Ratnapura yesterday.
The 18th phase of a program initiated by the government to raise awareness amongst journalists across the island was held yesterday in Ratnapura. At the conclusion of the workshop, certificates were presented to journalists who participated.
ජනමාධ්‍ය සඳහා ආචාර ධර්ම පද්ධතියක් අවශ්‍යයි. අපරාධ නීතිය ඉවත් කරන පහුගිය කාලේ
A system of ethics is necessary for the media in our country. The need for this has now increased. The criminal code was recently removed. I think that this was done to secure the political support of the media rather than to increase media freedom. Somehow it was removed. When it was removed, we approved of that measure because an obstacle for journalists in this country had been removed. But today, I have been made to say that it would have been better if the criminal code was still in place. Because through the criminal code, a person cannot simply be produced in court and punished. Because under the criminal code, a complaint had to be lodged. The defendant must be given the chance to plead their case against the charges levelled at them, and the charges must be proven beyond reasonable doubt. It is only then that they can be punished under the criminal code.
චෝදනාවට භාජනය වෙන පුජ්‍යලයට නිදහසට කරුණු කියන අවස්ථාව දීලා ඒ වගේම සැකයෙන් තොරව චෝදනාව ඔප්පු වුණාම තමයි අපරාධ නීතියක් යටතේ දඬුවම් දෙන්නේ.
Well, with less than 10 days from one of the most anticipated events in Hollywood, excitement is mounting across the world. On tonight's segment, Shahin Jurangpati and Katrina Chang takes a look at the nominees for Best Director at the 85th Academy Awards.
An American filmmaker, Stanley Kubrick, once said, "A film should be more like music than fiction. It should be a progression of moods and feelings. A director is one like a composer." The nominees this year for Best Director include a variety of composers, from the youngest nominees such as Ben Zeitlin to Steven Spielberg, who are masters in the arts of film.
Maman ? Tout à l'heure, quand je suis entrée, je me suis rappelé comment je vous écoutais toujours faire l'amour quand j'étais petite.
And it all goes quiet behind my eyes. I see everything that made me. Flying around in invisible pieces.
Abolishing slavery, unless at the same time we can tell them that you're seeking a negotiated peace.
It's either the amendment or this Confederate peace. You cannot have both.
How many hundreds of thousands have died during your administration?
Crazy. Whoa, what the hell? She knew where I was. She followed me.
Then why don't you run somewhere else?
Calm down, crazy.
Maybe she just needs a friend.
You want to have dinner at this diner?
Pick me up at 7:30.
Now, there has been lots of mixed reviews and reactions for this year's selection of the nominees for the Academy Awards. One being, why isn't Argo, a movie which has won the BAFTAs, the movie title of the year in the AFI, Critics' Choice Award, and even winning the title for the Best Director at the Golden Globes Award, not even nominated for the Oscars.
Continue to be held as hostages. They're going to go down.
Managing Director of BBDO Lanka, Santosh Menon, was one of the 5 international speakers at the first ever TEDx event in Mauritius that was held on the 31st of January this year.
Menon opened the floor with his well-received talk about brand magic, about brands making a positive difference in the communities they operate in. Speaking exclusively to News First Today, Santosh Menon expressed the following views.
I was representing BBDO Lanka, so I mean, in a sense, I was representing the advertising community here in Sri Lanka. We are Asia's first carbon neutral advertising agency. So in that sense, we started off with a very green focus. We launched Asia's first, billboard that actually cleans air. We've been supporting a lot of positive causes in Sri Lanka. And to that extent, to get an opportunity to represent Sri Lanka in a first ever TEDx event in Mauritius was a matter of great happiness and source of immense satisfaction. The objective in the next couple of years is to continue to do great work, is to continue to win and continue to do some really things which are innovative and be the first in doing them, and continue to make Sri Lanka proud by doing some great work here.
Well, before taking a look at more local stories, Australia won the ICC Women's Cricket World Cup for the 6th time a short while ago. They beat the West Indies by 114 runs in the finals to achieve this feat. Now moving on, the convener of the Independent Lawyers Collective, Attorney at Law Neil Rupasinghe, says that President's Counsel Tirantha Walaliyadda, who is contesting for the position of President of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka, recently held a special discussion with opposition leader Ranil Wickremesinghe.
මේකේ දෙපැත්තක් තියෙනවා. එක පැත්තක් තමයි අදාළ අපේක්ෂකයා ආණ්ඩුවම විසින් ඉදිරිපත් කරලා තියෙන බවට පැහැදිලිව පේන අපේක්ෂකයා.
There are two sides to this. One is that it is clear that this is the candidate put forward by the government as he is running behind politicians seeking support and assistance to secure the position of President of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka. In the recent past, we have seen how Ranil Wickremesinghe has been scratching the government's back. We believe that we will soon see the latest example of this, because in the recent past we have seen Ranil Wickremesinghe doing what the government wants. In this instance too, we can clearly see Ranil Wickremesinghe is keen to secure the votes of lawyers affiliated to the UNP for Walaliyadda.
එහෙමනම් මේ අවස්ථාවේ රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහත්මයා යම් විදිහකින් එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂය හා බැඳිච්ච නීතිඥවරුන්ගේ ඡන්දය වරලියද්ද මහත්මයාට ලබා දෙන්න උනන්දු වෙනවා නම් අපි ඒක පැහැදිලිව දකිනවා.
University lecturers say that if the democratic rights of the people are to be protected, then a strong opposition free of internal conflict is a necessity. They point out that a situation has arisen where the people are losing their rights day by day as a result of a weak opposition.
ජනතා විරෝධී ක්‍රියාවන්ට එරෙහිව
Today, the opposition's ability to organize the people and oppose the government when anti-people activity is taking place has diminished greatly. The government's strength is a manifestation of the opposition's weakness. It is the duty of the opposition to be the people's watchdog. The other key duty of the opposition is to act as an alternate government. Today, the opposition has forgotten its duty to the people. All we can see in the opposition parties now is internal conflict and conflict between parties. Leadership must be given to the people's struggle. The opposition must give leadership to the people's democratic struggle. This task is not being carried out by the opposition today.
ජනසමාජය තුළ ජනතාවගේ අරගලයට නායකත්වය දිය යුතුයි. ජනතාවගේ ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදී අරගලයට නායකත්වය දෙන්න ඕනේ විරුද්ධ පක්ෂය. අන්නේ කාර්යභාරය අද විරුද්ධ පක්ෂයෙන් ඉටු වෙන්නේ නැහැ.
ශක්තිමත් රජයක් තිබෙන්නට ඕනේ. ඒ වගේම ශක්තිමත්
There needs to be a strong government. Moreover, there also needs to be an opposition that is sensitive to the people's problems. At this time, we can see massive problems. Every sector is faced with massive problems. As university lecturers, on behalf of the civil society and the political society, we would like to mention the need of a strong opposition to awaken the people against the corrupt actions.
පෙළගස්සවන්නට ශක්තිමත් විපක්ෂයක් අවශ්‍ය බව අපි සිවිල් සමාජය වෙනුවනුත් ඒ වගේම දේශපාලන සමාජය වෙනුවනුත් ප්‍රකාශ කරන්නේ විශ්වවිද්‍යාල ආචාර්යවරුන් විදියටයි.
Well, up next is the newspaper cartoon of the day.